Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and today I have a new beautiful soul astrologist, psychologist, healer to introduce to you. Her name is Roma. Hello, Roma.
Hi, Lada. How are you? It is so lovely to have me.
I've been in contact with you for more than a year and observed your work, and I'm so excited to introduce another fascinating light worker or whatever, very simple, beautiful person again to our audience that can hopefully God will connect you with the right people you can help now with this interview. And Roma, you are based in South Africa, but where you originally from?
I was born in Poland and then I grew up in Austria. So you remember the time of communism, and we were one of these people. My parents are academics. So we were one of these people that had to pack up and leave. And we're just not safe anymore. Funny enough, we were supposed to move to South Africa and the bureaucracy took so long that we settled in a different country. But I ended up here, so it was meant to be.
Exactly. The soul calls you where you're supposed to be. So Roma, can you say has fascinating approach to astrology? Can you tell a little bit about yourself? You told me that you're a psychologist. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to astrology? What you told me at the beginning, how you working with clients with psychology and you notice that they speak about their moon all the time.
Yes. So my training is in psychology. I am a counseling psychologist. And when you sit in therapy, you keep learning. There's never a point where you know it all. I think this is not humble enough. You have to keep stretching your horizon and you have to keep learning and adjusting. And as a hobby, what entered into my life through you actually, Lada, was astrology. So it's almost cliche during my Saturn return. I was looking for additional answers not found in psychology, and this is how I stumbled into astrology. So years has passed because astrology is something that you have to learn slowly, to fully grab and understand. You also never arrive, I feel. It's such a huge topic.
Yeah.
And then what has happened was slowly the idea of psychology and astrology started merging in my mind. So when I had clients in therapy, I had a date of birth, and this was happening without their knowledge. I was looking up the chart. I was looking up especially the position of the moon. What aspects does the moon receive? And which are supported? How can the moon be nurtured? This is most important. How do I speak to you? Because the moon is the emotional health. It's your identity. The moon is the way you make your emotional decisions, the way you understand your identity, and also how you translate yourself from there. So I thought, let me try to speak in a way that creates an undercurrent of the element where the moon is in. So it started very basic. It started very simple. And I have noticed that people that have the moon in a sign, in a water sign, but especially Pisces, prefer to enter into the therapy looking a little bit more into the past. So they are more, it's more psychoanalysis that you are looking at. They are looking at if the topic of forgiveness is very, very big with them.
Oh,
and what they have to watch out for is not to self-sacrifice, not to make themselves a victim. So they have to be pushed away from this position a little bit. And what they respond beautifully to is definitely any form of meditative music, meditation, auto-hypnosis. These are the people that they are out, they are out instantly when you talk them through a meditation, through a hypnosis, they respond so very, very well to it. Spirituality is a very big topic. So touching on God in therapy with these people is a very big topic. And to give you an example, that is the acute opposite to that. If somebody has their moon in Aries, for example, this is a fire sign. They don't want to look into the past. They want to look in the future. They future oriented. They're solution centered.
My moon is fire sign, so I'm like, I don't want to talk about the past in therapy. Also, when I try to sit and even at home alone, sit and meditate or visualize. Not visualize, but kind of, I'm restless. Fire
Yes,
responds to
yes.
action.
It is action, and what I found, especially with Aries, because they're competitive more than the other fire signs, I would say. If you tell them, if you drop something along the lines of, they want to know when they're getting better. Like, give me a date when I'm getting better. This is not going on forever. So if you say something like, okay, I had a client with something similar, and this person was fine after 6 sessions, they will make sure they are fine after 4 sessions. They are, just because they are in competition, and I am in a profession. So you just poke them a little bit, and you just like ignite the fire. You are running a competition here. You have to set goals for the future, progress with them, set your goal, go ahead with it, and they usually win. So what I surface very, very quickly is the therapy takes much shorter, and that they have more of a sense that they are in charge and they are in control, and they know how to proceed with making themselves better. Because in my line of work, the quicker you get rid of your clients, the better you are. It works.
I understand you. You don't want to repeat all the time. It means you're not doing your job well.
Yes. It's it's a business, and this is a big topic. Why what I call the moon chart became so important to me. So I branched off completely into the moon chart, into nurturing the moon, and I have found that if you read a moon from the chart from the perspective of the moon, less from the perspective of the sun, right? That you getting really your hands on how to look after your psychology and nurture it. I have also found that you do not need to be born with a strong moon. This is not necessary. If you nurture your moon, if you do the moon nurturing activities, then your moon strengthens, and this is the phenomenal thing, within 7 to 10 days. So the response was coming to me within 7 to 10 days. And now, Lada, consider that. And this is something I believe in this from my heart. So God must be with me now when I'm explaining this. The health business is a business. And when we are paying for medical aid, we are not paying for health. We are paying for fear. This is a fear-based business. So what we are being sold is that the idea of not having health, and you pay for it and you have access to health. You are also being taken away the understanding that a lot of my health issues are in my hands. So this is something that in psychology we call internal locus of control versus external locus of control. Mm-hmm. Internal locus of control means that even if everything is taken away from me, I understand what gifts I have, what skills I have, what other resources I can find in my life in order to regain control over my circumstances. And external locus of control means, if I get a better medical aid, I will have a better health. If I go to this hospital, I will have a better health. If I get this supplements, I will have a better health. So we are putting the control over our mental health and health into the hands of other practitioners, of other people. And this is actually how consumerism works as well. Don't think your identity is just shaped by who you are internally. It's by what you have and what you wear. Perfect scenario. But I don't think the Scorpio the Pluto in Scorpio generation, will follow this path for long. I think these are the rebellious ones. They too smart for it. They too smart for it. Okay, so
will
it is safe.
So the position of the moon will give you this, when you understand it and nurture it, this feeling that taking back your power and your health, mental, physical, into your hands. You're saying you've noticed that.
Yes, I have noticed that. So what I have noticed is when we speak about self-confidence, we tend to generalize the term. But in different areas of your life, you will have a different level of self-confidence. You can be very good in your work, but when it comes to nurturing your children, you might not be, the mother of the year. And So different areas give you a different self-confidence, a different level of self-confidence. Okay, now you might need to be told, listen, this is your tailor-made psychology. This moon chart, when I am looking at your moon, this is what comes naturally to you. I am confirming for you that yes, your career will always come more naturally to you. And looking after children will be a little bit clumsy, at least until they become semi-adults, you know, and you can correspond with them and you can speak to them like adults. And just by being confirmed, there is nothing wrong with me. It is just the positioning of the moon. The confidence raises. One goes away from the idea something pathological is happening in my mind. You know, one goes away from the idea that I am non-functional in certain area. I have to, you know, try harder. There's nothing wrong with trying harder. What I feel is to be given permission to be yourself, according to your chart, according to your moon. Mainstream psychology is beautiful, of course, and there is research, and there is, when it comes to mental health hygiene, for example, we would say, okay, you have to get your sleep, you have to social interactions, you get your spirituality, you have to eat healthy, you have to have some purposeful work, understood to Western, you know, the Western world, making money. Okay. And now let's say we have somebody with a lonely moon in the chart, and a lonely moon person. With a lonely moon.
Lonely moon.
A lonely. Yes.
Would you explain to the viewers what it is?
Yes, of course. So a moon that is positioned by itself without an orb, some astrologers say 10 degrees to the left or right of the moon. That means the beautiful thing about this moon is it is very perceptive to energies of other people, situations, almost seeing the strengths and weaknesses of a situation, of a person. And the other side is that one absorbs these energies. So one has to be a little bit more fussy when it comes to what interactions am I allowing into my life? What situations, not only people, am I removing myself instantly from because they're not good for me? These people need to spend time in solitude in order to remain sane. There's no other way around this, to say it differently.
I have a lonely moon. My moon has no planets on either sign, on both sides. So I know about this
lonely moon. Yes, and if you look at mental hygiene, mainstream psychology, it will tell you, oh, it's one symptom of depression if you don't want to socialize with other people, you know. And it's the it's a tailor-made psychology of the moon chart that allows you to say, no, listen, everything is fine with you. You need to be alone. You need to be alone, you know. If it's a fire moon, be alone, light candles. Have a home insurance for sure, you know, because fire is your element. If you have a water moon, work with water, pray into water, blow it into water, drink this water, wash yourself with the water. This will cleanse you. The fastest. If you have an earth moon, barefoot walking on the ground in the morning, if you have access to that. If not, make a plan just to have a little bit a plant garden in the kitchen. This is priority. Put your fingers in the soil, in the ground. This is your prayer. Connecting with the earth is your prayer. If you want to mark a beautiful new beginning in your life, the intention for it, plant a seed, look after the plant to the best of your ability, you know. Some people might need to go with a cactus. They have the moon in an earth sign, but they don't have a green finger. So that's fine. And air moon person. Okay. They need to do breathing exercises. This is important for them. Preferably sports outdoors. This is important for them. For them, the first almost manifestation that their psychology is taking a more difficult turn is always in their breathing. If they control their breathing, they control their life. And they need mental stimulation. They need intellectual stimulation. Depending what house the moon is in, depending on concrete sign or other aspects, this is where your interest is. And if you, with this moon, you need to keep stimulating your mind. There's no way around it.
That's how mental health comes. Because I'm a fire moon, I noticed that if I don't have a fireplace in the home, it doesn't feel like a home. So now we don't have a fireplace. So
Oh,
I on the TV fire, and I'm building a fireplace outside, and I light candles always. It's something about the light with the fire signs to make
yeah,
people relaxed and calm. And can you tell me?
yes.
I'm curious. You worked with all the moon signs. Which one have you find the hardest to heal, or to the longest it takes? Have you noticed
Okay.
some signs or two that are like,
Yes, 100%. 100%. So over the last year, what has surfaced to me, Lada, it's a hard aspect from Uranus to the moon. This is, oh my word, this is,
tell
you
me,
know,
I have this.
I know, I know. I feel I'm walking on eggshells, but just
No,
bear
no,
with me because it's
relate straight, because sometimes I feel I'm helpless case when it comes to to being
okay.
settled
Okay.
emotionally.
So let us start about the positive things, maybe about the Uranus moon aspect. Let us start with that. When a woman becomes a mother, when she steps into the identity of motherhood, her moon becomes stronger than her Venus. That means at latest then she has to do her moon nurturing exercises. Okay, that's number one. Number two, with a Uranus hard aspect to the moon, these people do better when they build a career away from their hometown. I found when they're moving town, country, or even continent, they're doing much better. They're suffocating in their immediate environment. They are not doing well with that. Now, what they truly, truly from their heart have to watch out for in the younger year, not throughout life, but especially in the first 3 decades, are the temper tantrums. So Uranus rules volcanic eruptions, these explosions, earthquakes. And they don't last long. They last 2-3 minutes, but the damage that they do within the 2-3 minutes is this is beyond words. It can be generational. I have seen people losing their properties, losing their livelihood because of that. I have seen people being just, family members have moved away from them. They have reached a point where I just cannot take this anymore. And they have distanced themselves. I have seen a guy, that happened 2 weeks ago. He drove down a bridge by mistake. He was upset when he was driving. This is Uranus moon. This is a aspect, and after that incident, I told myself, listen, I was always polite to clients and I was saying, okay, control your tantrums a little bit and be, better with your words. Like what helps to control anger is sucking on a sweet. The sucking reflex calms you. The sugar stimulates the pleasure center of the brain. So if you're in a public space, have a sweet ready, put it in your mouth. About 7 seconds later, it starts calming you down, and then you can say whatever you need to say, but right place, right time for everything, right proportion. And but with this aspect, controlling your anger is the biggest. This is the biggest challenge, controlling your words. This is the biggest challenge, and it can be the damage that they do can be generational. I think this is the
Yeah, definitely resonates with me. I can't stay in one place long, and I'm a bit impatient with raising children, and I want to just be able to say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to Istanbul. Oh, tomorrow I'm just pick up everything and leave, and this having to be constant and persistent in family as a mother. This is what kind of feels so hard for me, and sometimes I notice when I'm too long in a routine, because children need routine. When I'm strong, I start becoming impatient and bursting out. So I really, it's like at least once a week I need to pick up and go somewhere or do something spontaneous, and that can be quite disruptive for family.
No, that's perfectly fine. This is what you need. This is what your moon needs. With this aspect, I think the blessing is these people usually end up with being a level up in the socioeconomic status from what they were born into. That's number one. And number two,
Uranus is about sudden rises, isn't it? And
it
The moon is the
but
environment you're born into. Yeah.
yes, but usually the effect, as I said, because Moon Uranus gives you the effect of the damage that you do, so to speak, is so big it's lasting. So in a positive sense, what you do is so big it's lasting. Yes, you might be removed, maybe reduced in the circumstances a little bit, that is possible, but you have still risen, I think you say in English, you rised up.
Risen.
And this is to stay, yeah. And this is to stay, so they usually uplift. What I also found is that I don't understand yet why, I'm still looking, I'm still learning, I'm still researching, I'm very grateful for feedback. It gives a little bit of a Rahunian element, like a nod element, in the sense that these people very often end up marrying a foreigner or being in a cross-racial, cross-cultural, cross-religious relationship. It cannot be steady. It cannot be mainstream steady. And this is their normal. This is perfectly fine. Your children know what they do.
That's a remedy for them. Marry abroad, live abroad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My husband has this aspect in opposition, right? So he was undiagnosed with ADD, attention deficit disorder. Often children with this aspect, adults seldom get this diagnosis. It's more a child diagnosis. Okay, you cannot sit still in school, and this is what is happening, It's sometimes ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And what helps, Lada, is when you keep doing something new for the day, but you don't tell the person about it. So, for example, I moved the furniture around, but I don't tell him. So he comes into the dining room and, I'm surprised now, Uranus, and his mind is calm for the day.
I'd like that. I have to tell my husband to do that. It wouldn't be good if your partner is blind, though, moving furniture around or something like that. You have to use reason what to change around. Sorry, carry on. That's fascinating.
Yes. Another example would be, because the moon is food, so let's say a carrot has a certain shape, it's longish, and I'm sure you know it. I don't know the culinary expression for it. There's round carrots, so carrots that come in carrot balls. I'm sure there's a name for it. They just come in a different shape. They don't grow like this. They're being shaped like this. Okay, so you take food that is unusual. So instead of a carrot that is longish, you give him this carrot balls, or you give the child the carrot balls, and you're like, oh, this is something new, this is something unusual. And you have them calm for a day. And it sounds like a job, but you truly get the hang of it, even if you have to make a list for the next 60 days, and then you repeat every 60 days.
Yeah, so if you have a child with this position, change something, do something unusual in the everyday environment, not to the extent to debilitate them, to feel sick, but something to give them this kink of Uranus. Oh, this is fascinating for parents.
Yes.
Another, and you can apply this for transit. So if you're having Uranus hard transit to the moon, you can do that, like do something spontaneous, unusual, every day, move things around. And you gave me an amazing advice, because I'm going through Saturn opposition moon currently. It's not exact, but I'm feeling already like health issues. And you gave me fantastic example, and that can apply to people that are born with Saturn moon. Can we talk a little bit about Saturn moon and some of the remedies?
Of course.
Many people that go into astrology, I noticed they also have Saturn moon, because it's a very tough emotionally position. So they're looking for answers. Why do I feel so tough on myself? Why do I never feel enough? Why do I feel emotionally down? Or, so if you can talk a little bit about the moon expert. So I want to squeeze out
anything. Lada, the aspect of moon Saturn is very dear to my heart. So I have done something terrible, because I didn't know astrology, and it bothers me until today, right? So I was pregnant with my first child, and my mother-in-law came to visit to help us in the last weeks. And God bless her. This is a beautiful woman, but you know how it can get sometimes with a mother-in-law in the house and everybody is waiting for the baby. So I could not, I just wanted to give birth, and I wanted her to go, if I'm honest. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to the I went to the doctor, I went to the gynecologist, and I said, you know, this pregnancy is getting heavy on me. Do you think we can induce it a little bit earlier? And he says, no, it's fine. You know, we can do it. Your body is ready. It's getting there. So it will happen within the next 2-3 days anyway, and we can induce you. Okay. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. And the day I gave birth to my daughter, the moon was 2 degrees away from Saturn. I didn't know.
I don't think it's you that was, I think it was meant to be this way. It was meant to be this way, and the urge was given to you from above because she had to be born. I don't think there is kind of randomness with the time of birth someone is born. I even if it's induced, even if it's pre-planned, this is again God setting it up like that, because a child cannot survive and a soul will not survive in a body and a birth that is not aligned to their vibration. So it was the right thing.
Yes.
So carry on, tell me more. It's a fascinating story.
Okay, thank you for that. I will carry this in my heart. And so the moon is 2 degrees away from Saturn, and you know, the results of that were visible shortly after. So there is something in psychology that we call goodness of fit, and goodness of fit means that a person with a character, a certain character, fits perfectly into one family and is considered an easy child, and is very disruptive in a different family, same child, same personality, and is considered a difficult child. So Saturn, the moon is motherhood, right? And Saturn is a testing planet. This is a testing energy. So this goodness of fit was always low, and this was the topic of moon Saturn was always big to me. So let us speak about the remedies. Number one, it gets better after age 30. So once the Saturn return is over, Saturn has matured in the chart, this aspect becomes a little bit calmer. The child feels that it cannot express itself fully around the mother. It is too stifled, you know, it cannot be fully itself, and the mother feels she cannot connect with the child. There's always a gap, there's always this arm's length, like we love each other, but we cannot, you know, feel each other. Now, if somebody has a transit Saturn over the moon, you might have classical symptoms that you identify as depression. Don't worry about it. What you need is, again, a little bit more time in solitude, a little bit more time in prayer. Saturn loves a steady routine, almost a boring routine. Saturn would love you to work on a long-term goal. Saturn teaches us how to perceive a long-term goal, and if it has to do with moon activities, you know, this is why, okay, if it has to do, for example, with art or learning a skill in connection with the moon, this is a very blessed time for it. I want you to understand and have the confidence that this transit will pass. You will be uncomfortable and sad, and basically think of yourself sitting in a church by yourself. This is the feeling that one has with this transit. You know, you feel a little bit detached, not belonging, unable to connect to other people. Getting a pet is very helpful. So I think in that case you can choose if it's a cat or a dog, because Saturn rules dogs and the moon rules cats. So whatever suits you better.
Yeah, and spending time with her now. And my daughter, we're all having. My son is having Saturn square moon transit. My husband's gonna have Saturn square. My daughter conjunction to her moon, and me opposition, because we have our moons on a cross. So Saturn is affecting us all. And I thought this would be perfect time to set some stricter rules and routines at home.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm more healthy because I'm so bad with sticking to routines with my moon Uranus. And I have moon conjunct Rahu and Uranus. This is impossible to stick to routines. Both Rahu and Uranus, they don't like, they want new things all the time. So now I'm like, we have to do that, like have a set routine.
Yeah.
And, kind of, it's going to be boring, but it's going to feel like you're more settled. And everyone is moody at home now.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, my daughter doesn't want to go to school. She feels it's too loud there. Like,
okay, yes.
She's in the third house school, you know, and they're not socializing well at school. So they're just, being distant with other kids. So I can hear it. So what other remedies? Set routines, spend time alone. What else? Saturn moon.
Introduce more tradition into your life. So this traditional values of, if you're setting the routine, for example, and let's say it is a traditional thing to have one meal at least a day with the family around the dinner table, introduce a little bit more of the cuisine of your place of origin, where you are coming from, traditional cuisine. If you have access to your grandparents or elderly family members, please involve them a little bit more. They will put this calmness into the family, right? And if you do not have them, adopt one. Just find yourself an elderly person that will become part of.
Here is my strange elderly woman. She needs to spend time. She's having Saturn transit. No, that's actually that's how it's playing out for them. They're spending a lot of time with grandma and granddad. Saturn moon.
Yes.
The caring body's older, and
yes,
and that's what I'm learning now. I'm learning how to cook old school and how to do living bread, thousands years old recipes with
oh wow,
natural yeast or whatever was it called, yeast. I'm learning a lot of old school things. So that's actually
yes. Yes. Even you might have the urge to decorate your home a little bit more in a classical, traditional way than your usual style, than your usual type. You go more with, you avoid polyester. During this time, I found people, they cannot have fabrics on their body that are synthetic. They have to be natural. They go for cotton, for corduroy, for silk, for whatever it is that is natural. But polyester just doesn't sit right with them. Even if you think of Hollywood works with archetypes. And if you think of a moon Saturn person, you would never imagine them in polyester. You will never imagine them with fashion jewelry. It's just, it doesn't go, okay? But sticking to the question and the topic, praying together as a family. And in this case, I would encourage traditional religion, less spirituality, but really sticking to this traditional religion. Adopting a pet, taking care of an animal is something very helpful. So, the Moon-Saturn combination is called the Cancer combination because people have a hard time expressing their emotions, okay, especially the negative ones. So if you have a child with this aspect, it's for them to have just at least a fish, if it can't be a dog or a cat, something that is alive, that they can nurture, that they can take care of, just to strengthen their moon and allow them to express emotions and allow them to be a little bit in a safe space. People are judgmental. Animals are not judgmental, and they are very forgiving.
Yes. So you learn responsibility, you do the Saturn thing, and you're consistent, and you learn to open up your emotionally a bit. Wow. And you also told me eat more beans. And I've been cooking beans every 2 days, which is, I was wondering why I'm cooking beans so much. And when you said one of the remedies for Saturn moon transit is beans are ruled by Saturn, and you said like eat more beans. And I'm like, no wonder I've been cooking a lot more beans. and it's very simple, pleasant meals. So this is very Saturn.
Yes, it's very Saturnian. They don't like saucy things. If you have a person that is born like that, they don't like saucy things. They like nuts, and they like beans, and they like lentils. They like these simple things that don't go off.
That's dried up and cracking. This is any crackers and stuff like that.
Yes,
but
dried food. Yes.
If you notice something though, because with the transits or in the chart, if you have malefics like Saturn, Mars, I'd say Pluto, if you do more of that thing, of the Saturnian thing, or whatever transit aspect, because it's a malefic, it can make it too much, because Saturn is cold and dry. So when you start doing a lot of cold and dry activities or foods, you increase that element even more. So I've noticed Saturn, Pluto, Mars, I'll do the opposite. As a like in medicine, you can either cure a disease with a bit of poison or a bit of the opposite. So with definitely with Saturn transit, so if you have it in your chart, I've noticed that the sun is the biggest enemy of Saturn. So I'll notice that taking in more sun, more heat, more light, can actually
Yes.
balance a little bit. Or with Mars, it's too hot and too fiery. You need to do, what is the opposite of Mars? Maybe Venus, you know. And so with Pluto as well, Pluto, the opposite of Pluto is actually Venus and Taurus, because Pluto rules Scorpio. And I've noticed
Yeah.
during Pluto transits, and people say, like, when you have Pluto transits, conspiracy, life after death, but it gets too heavy. This is very death
Yeah.
topics.
Yes.
Can be. So I've noticed with Pluto, and I read, and I was fascinated, do the opposite, like Pluto rules Scorpio, Taurus is the opposite sign, Pluto rules death, while the angelic beings rule the growth of plants and animals, and which is very much Taurus.
Okay.
So it's like I found myself during very long Pluto transits I had for the last 3-4 years, that being in touch with nature, the opposite of Pluto,
Yes.
where grass is growing, plants, especially in the spring, kind of counteracts this death feeling I had with Pluto transits.
Yes.
And just being around little children where there is more life, more greenness.
Yes.
So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that sometimes as well, remedies, you do a little bit of the malefic,
Yeah.
but kind of you can't, it's like it will get too heavy.
Yes, no, Lada, absolutely, absolutely. Let me explain it like that. So let's say there is a transit of Saturn over the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And what I am doing, or how I think about it, is I have to acknowledge you. So I'm bringing a sacrifice towards you. But I also have to build up my own strength. So when you say, for example, go more into the sun, especially the morning sun, and be more in the sun during this transit, yes, most likely you will do it in solitude, which again is the Saturnian aspect. I have to acknowledge him. I have to, it's almost like an invader to your country, and you have to do something about it. You cannot pretend you're not there.
It's all
you
flowers,
have to,
sunshine. You need to give whatever it's called, the dues and the respect.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to. I find that some planets are so strong. You mentioned Pluto, you mentioned Mars. So Mars is more abrupt, and Pluto is difficult. This is a difficult transit. And when you have these transits, you definitely have to understand what they stand for, because you will see it more in your life, right? And there are things you cannot fight. So let us relax. It always starts with relaxing, because this is your moon. How set back you are, how relaxed you are, this is your moon. So sit back a little bit, relax, understand there will be more of blocked pipes. There will be more of near-death experiences, dreams around you, past things. There will be difficult topics, and they are temporal. They are here now. The remedy actually for Moon Pluto is, one of the remedies is to clean gutters or clean out the bathroom, the toilets, the pipes, working with dirt, literally. There are other remedies as well.
Yeah. So
as well.
Do the least harmful Pluto things. You have to have them in your life.
Yes. Yes.
Because during I went so deep into like the dark conspiracies, which I believe is true. I've always known, but it's like I was obsessed, and I was getting darker and darker and darker. And like, I can't. And I started getting panic attacks, and I was like, and the only thing that would save me was do the opposite, go into nature, simplicity. The opposite of is life, and where is life in nature, and all of those things.
Yes. And I also found that people instinctively end up doing the moon activities that nurture their moon. What holds them back is again the topic of confidence, Oh, the book says this, I should act like that. No. And I think where the moon chart is helpful is that it gives you access to mental health, how to maintain your mental health, right? It also cures, so we'll come to that. And it is accessible. You're not looking at a scenario where you don't know how many sessions you have to attend, how long you are absent for work, It makes your psychology strong. You will need a strong psychology living in these times, because you will need adaptability, definitely stronger than in the past. And you will need a stronger sense of identity as well. So as much as we are now open-minded to things, right? At the same time, we are not born in the same village, and we grow up in the same village, marry in the same village, die in the same village. we tend to work somewhere else, meet people from other cultures, be influenced in what religion we decide to practice, not necessarily are born into what food we prepare. So we might be born into a meat diet, but go vegan. You know, we have all these things that define our identity today.
And that's
Open
the
to
moon.
us, these knowledges.
These things are the moon.
That's the moon.
Yeah.
This is the moon.
You belong knowing who you are. The moon is, yes, knowing who you are, your self-identity. Yeah. And
who you are.
Yeah, it's true. It's so hard nowadays because you can
It's
define.
very hard. Anything you can do, you can be anyone plus minus, you know, it's depends on your chart. But what I wanted to say is you will need a stronger sense of your identity. So the locus of your identity is internal again, that you know who you are when you are going out into the world and nobody rattles on it. I think what is really interesting is olden day psychology said, listen, your brain matures around age 22 and your identity is defined around middle 20s, right? For men, a little bit later. And modern day psychology says no, identity is a fluid concept that only starts taking shape, and here it's coming around age 42. Now the notes,
Wow.
yes, then,
Fascinating.
Yes, it is. It is when they know. Yes, this is when they release you from your lessons and they say, okay, I don't make you chase this. I don't make you chase this anymore. Now you're allowed to come to yourself, you know? And it's I think this is fascinating. So psychology is a science that is still developing, that is still like every science, you know, if they stand still, it's not healthy.
So and they notice it in psychology. So they've noticed it in psychology that actually the nodes mature from 42 to 48. And this age, and I've heard so many people say, I became so happy after my late 40s or early 50s. They say like, I was free from certain compulsions or certain karmic patterns. And that's when I emotionally settled happily. And my mom always told me, I became happiest after my late 40s. Like I've never been happy. Okay, wow. Now it makes sense. Yeah, the maturation of the karmic nodes.
Yes, the maturation of the karmic nodes is what helps you to define your identity. In the meantime, you will need high adaptability because you're not born and maintained in the same circumstances for life, and how you adapt to your circumstances. This is your moon again. This is again, how capable am I to adjust my psychology to whatever life throws at me? And make no mistakes, you know, within every chart, you will have 2-3 life circumstances that will put you to your knees. And this is not, I don't wish this upon anybody. You know, in my culture, you spit over the shoulder just to prevent this from happening. So I do not wish this upon anybody, but this is the nature of life. It will test you every chart 2 to 3 times. If you look at charts of the prophets or saints, I mean, their whole life was one test. You know, it depends what is chosen for you, what you have chosen. Okay, but this is a completely different topic now. Point is.
And you you did for me, and I loved it. You did a report on my moon. You covered all the aspects, the house position, the sign position, and it's very affordable. Roma works very affordable report. And you keep it for life. And whenever you're feeling down or you're finding it hard, you don't feel mentally happy or you don't have natural well-being in your life. This is the moon, or you feel lost. For mine, you come back to your moon chart and you come back to all the things that you give, all the remedies for all the positions, what one should do to nurture the moon, which means nurture yourself and feel happy, because the moon is your happiness. The moon is your emotion.
This is your happiness. So I broke it down into life areas that would be emotional, work, physical, friends, family, spiritual, and financial partner. And I give you exercises that I boil down to ultimate simplicity, because I believe simplicity is the highest sophistication. So you go, and this is the activity that you do here. They are easy to implement. So I want, this is from my lips to God's ears, you know, I want mental health to be accessible. I just seen too many teenagers who suicide is common now amongst, suicide attempts are common amongst teenagers, and building a strong identity, adaptability, and a strong psychology. Psychology is a muscle that you can build, you can strengthen it, right? And as a parent, you can teach your child, this is what we are doing, this is good for you. Accessible to everybody. Going back to it, your moon doesn't change, the transits change, yes, but your moon positioning and the birth aspects, they do not change, you know. So you have access to simple activities that will help you to build and maintain health, mental health, profits you for life. This profits as well in relationships. There are so many marriages that are that are not functional unnecessarily because the moons are not comfortable with each other. And okay, it can be that two moons are really not compatible, that they are really not getting along and they cannot be together. I understand that, but very often you can make yourself comfortable first and then the partner more comfortable as well. And there will be things that derive from mainstream. There will be things like, listen, you need separate bedrooms. Are you happy with that? Or you need even two houses on the same property, you know, and just come together for one meal. That can be also, it can be like this. I cannot think mainstream. And an Aquarius moon, I cannot.
Yeah. Lovely, I love moon. You're having Saturn transit over it?
Oh my word. Yeah, I have Pluto on the ascendant. I have Saturn over my moon. It's a miracle I'm breathing. Yeah.
How are you feeling? Pluto on your
ascendant. Oh my word.
Saturn on your moon.
Oh my word. It has never been better and it has never been more awkward. It has never been more awkward. Lada.
Like what? It was so funny because I was telling Roma, I was like, I can't breathe, I'm having nervous and anxiety attacks, and I have Pluto square all my planets right now. And she said, look, do this. And she showed me her on a picture on her over the card. You have painted Pluto, the symbol of
yes
Pluto. This helps me. And I'm like, okay, me too. So I'm painting Pluto. And it really calmed me down. It was so strange, like the anxiety. You give honor to Pluto. And so what are you doing?
Yes.
So feeling, yeah, tell me. I'm interested to hear. Pluto and
I think
Saturn transit.
Yes, it's okay. See, my first Pluto over the ascendant I had when I was staying in a different country. So this is my second one. I don't know what my astrological age is by now, but this is my second Pluto over the ascendant. And what happens?
Wait, no, Pluto can be over the ascendant just once in a lifetime, but it takes 2 years for it to pass.
Yes, but I was staying in a place where my ascendant was different.
Ah, okay. Oh, you mean you were staying on a Pluto line? Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
No, it wasn't a Pluto line. My ascendant changed from Sagittarius to Capricorn.
In your relocated chart, Pluto was on your ascendant by transit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's more like a joke that I have, you know, that I don't know what's my astrological age because it's the second time I have a Pluto over the ascendant. But anyway, I think what happened now is that you are not scared to stand alone. So, you know, when you practice psychology and you dip into astrology, there's a high chance that you're not being taken seriously for some reason or laughed at or ridiculed and so on. And I think Pluto really gives the strength to say, you know what, you want to be of service. Ultimately, this is your motivation. You want to have mental health accessible to everybody. You know, the maintenance of mental health. This is your goal. Don't be scared to stand alone. And there are still moments where you are scared. There is the Saturn moon aspect. But the fear of standing alone, it's like it's gone. You know, you really have the feeling of I'm working in the direction of Pluto. I am convinced as we sit here today, Lada, that astrology will find its way into psychology. I can see developing, I can see we have a Pluto in Scorpio generation that is so mind-boggling, mind-open to things like that. I feel that psychology in its confidence was very stern at the beginning to say, take me seriously as a science. And therefore, it had to cut off from spirituality, it had to cut off from astrology, any esoteric aspects that have to do with the soul, with the mind, just to be taken seriously. And I feel it grew now up. It is being taken seriously. It is part of everyone's life. by now, because it is practical. And now it is just as the freedom, it has arrived. So just as the freedom to say, you know what, I am allowing astrology, esoteric spirituality, religion into this space because they can be of service. So I think that is number one. The second part, how it manifested, is I don't see people. I talk to people every day when I do consultations, but face to face, I feel so quickly drained, so I'm in solitude most of the time. And
yeah, so a solitude, building a bit of walls, and how to
yes,
how to guard and protect your feelings and your
yes. So my comfort zone is being alone at the moment until the transit passes. So it's fine. And Saturn on the moon, this is also working towards a long-term goal. And long-term goal will be that we collect data on the relationship between mental health and the moon in somebody's chart. And maybe I won't see that anymore. But I am more than happy to contribute to say, see, this is related, this is connected, this is beautiful.
So it also proves when you are on the right track, when you're doing what you love, like you, and you have meaning and purpose and go, even the hardest transits, you use them to the highest possible manifestation, which is instead of being depressed, you're enjoying that you prefer to be lonely, so you can do a lot of research with the Saturn over the moon, hard work, and with delving deeply and empowering yourself, and so that's fascinating. That's hopefully you can help a lot of people get in touch with the identity and align them to more well-being, psychological, physical as well, because the moon is physical health as well.
Yes.
And
it is your, sorry.
No.
It is your physical health, it is your relationships, and it is as well how you attract things into the life. So one feedback of the women, when I was just trying out the charts, it was just coincidence, it was God made, my clients in therapy didn't know that I am looking up the moon. And I didn't feel I'm in the position to share it. I felt, okay, I'm in a little village in Africa, they will burn me on the stake, I am not... The red hair contributes, and I felt I am not in the position, and then I just stumbled into it where the circumstances just took me there, and I ended up in a network of women that are very successful. These are alpha women. They not scared to try something new, and they not scared to give you feedback, honest feedback. This is what I needed, I needed to say, it's working, it's not working, this is what is practical. And they were so good to me. They were giving me feedback that is, it's incredible. And this is where I could choose, okay, it's happening between 7 to 10 days after applying. The first manifestation that you see is things coming easier to you, receiving gifts for the first time after a long time, being in more harmonious relationships, period is this is a very big topic. It aligns again, with your body. There was one chart where the period actually came back after months of absence. Wow. So this chart blew my mind, because I felt I am on something that is strong, but I didn't know how strong it was. And I feel these women really helped me to build my confidence and say, no, this is working, continue with it, continue.
Well, what was that chart in particular? What was she doing with her moon that you taught her as an advice? What aspect did she have? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I have notes of it. So her moon was in Cancer. It was a lonely moon in the 6th house. And I find if something is not even yet manifested in your life as being unhealthy, an unhealthy current, right? The silent positioning of the moon is the first one to give it away. So if you have a Cancer moon, it will be hard relationships with your children, your fertility will go down, or your period will disappear. If you, for example, an Aquarius moon, an inability to concentrate on your work, to do your research, if you, for example, a Leo moon, it will be, Leo needs to be pretty. And now you're in sweatpants and t-shirts, you will do exactly the opposite. And this is also how psychology identifies stress. So stress is a period of at least 3 months where your circumstances demand more from you than you have in resources. Resources can be family, friends, time, money, and so on. And if circumstances demand more, you're experiencing stress after 3 months. Okay, but her moon was in the sign of Cancer, and her moon, she didn't have a period for months, and the moon chart was still, this was, I think, amongst the first 100 that I was writing. So I was asking for feedback, and I told her, I don't know. I try to be of service. I will be of service to you to the best of my ability. I don't know how this will develop. Okay, but let us try. And the exercises that she had to do is move away from the thinking pattern of victimizing yourself, because the moon was in the 6th house and being of service to your family too much. We had 12th house.
She was the servant to the family.
Yes. And she had difficult 12th house transits at the same time, but nothing that couldn't be cleared with a little bit salt bath and sage. This is perfectly fine. Once off, she didn't need to do it regularly. She, because it's a Cancer moon, we're looking again at praying into water, blowing it into water, wash yourself, protect your space, sprinkle it around you, put it into your body, put this prayer into your body. Then physically, preferably water activities. So go for a swim, walk by the river, be close to water. Being close to water, I think, is the activity that is that was most supported for her. Then try to replace. That sounds terrible, but try to replace family members, biological family members that are not good for you, with social family members. So Cancer tends to build have a biological family and build a social family. Okay, and even the concept of family now became more fluid. So people refer to it as the tribe. They're looking for the tribe,
Yes.
And this is the social family. So just try to, what happened in the past where you feel that you were like a servant to them or victimized by them, step back, retell the story without giving or taking blame. You don't want anything that has to do with victimhood in your life, in your energy, in your space. So retell the story, don't give or take blame, and then replace the people after blessing them that you feel they were not good for me. At the moment, it is not working. Maybe later on, when my moon is strong enough, I will come back to them. Replace them with social family members. So have a family. Okay. Then when it comes to money, a Cancer moon must expect it. When you make affirmations, and you don't even need to believe them when you're starting with them, but they need to be in the position of, I am expecting this. This goes without question. I am deserving of it. This is coming to me, and they need to feel it. Let me just see. And she had a good aspect from Saturn to the moon. Okay, so that means that she should consider surrounding herself with elderly people as well, that she can well have a social age that is a little bit older than her chronological age, then that she carries herself in a way like that. Just
this is fascinating. So it means that you do absolutely different exercises to every client, because usually psychologists would have the same kind of approach to most clients. Let's do forgiveness, whatever. But you do totally tailored exercises and little lifestyle hacks. And that is the beauty of astrology combined with psychology. And once you give, so if anyone would like to have a personal reading with Roma, she sent you a report. You don't do it face to face. Like mine was so beautiful, in depth, and I want you to send it to me again, because it was like a year ago, a year and a half ago, and I've lost it. So if you can send it back to try, and
I did it.
I need it now to strengthen my moon. So
okay, we do that.
So anyone would like to contact Roma, I'm putting a link below. Welcome her into the AstroLada family.
Oh my word, thank you so much.
I hope you become a constant guest here. Maybe if you want to have your podcast on the channel, and like once a month or whatever you want to, you can even do live if you want to go lives, if people are interested, write down if you'd be interested, because Roma is so easy to access and talk to. Maybe if you feel comfortable to do live ones, or because if you're having Saturn transit, you might not feel comfortable to do live videos. You can do like recorded videos where you talk about a certain topic. We would love to have more of you on the channel with such topics.
Oh my word.
Astrology, the moon, women. You also do all other astrology, compatibility and everything. You can check predict. You can check all her services. But I highly recommend for every woman to this moon report that Roma does, and it's very tailored to you. It's not computer generated. She does it personally and puts all her expertise in it, and it's extremely affordable. So thank you so much, Roma. After the video, let's talk what you want to do, what videos you want to do here for our viewers in the future. And I'm very excited to have you with us, another brilliant person.
Lada, thank you so much for giving me a chance here, opportunity, and having me as part of the family. You were so kind. I feel so welcome, you know, and thank you so much for, this gives a lot of strength to the merge of psychology and astrology. So this is something that shall benefit many, God willing.
Oh, amen. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Develop that astrology, psychology connection and make it mainstream. Just like Freud was an astrologer, not Freud, Jung was an astrologer.
Jung, yeah.
Thank you so much, Roma. Beautiful, beautiful human being.
Thank you so much, Lada.
What's your sun sign? Your moon is in Aquarius and your sun sign is?
I'm Leo. I'm a Leo, 12-degree Leo.
Oh, Saturn and Uranus are killing you.
Saturn, oh my, what do you have? No mercy.
I love this. I'm Leo Aquarius too, so.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from when you're describing how you were feeling. I really, truly do, you know.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And you can contact Roma from the link below. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.